Bhavesh Joshi Superhero. Now, is this finally a good Indian superhero movie that India can be proud of, that we can be proud of as fans of superhero movies in this golden age of superhero movies? Let's find out in this full review of Bhavesh Joshi Superhero. Before we get started, if you are new here or in case you just can't remember, my name is Puneet and you're watching the Afterthoughts Network. Let's get started. Now, Bhavesh Joshi Superhero is a new Indian superhero origin story. It's not a complete superhero movie, but yes, it's a Indian superhero origin story, which stars Harshvardhan Kapoor and is directed by Vikramaditya Motwane. Now, is this a really good superhero movie? I would say yes, I really like this movie. Does it have flaws? Yes, it does have quite a number of flaws, which we'll talk in this review. But this is a really good superhero movie. It is well acted, well directed for the most part. It has a great soundtrack and a great score behind it. It even has its own superhero theme that works brilliantly in this movie. It has a decent villain. I would not say the villain is very great. It's sort of like a Marvel thing. The villain is not that great, but this is a hero's journey, so it works in this context. Now, one thing I have to say, this movie is really grounded and gritty in the Indian context. It's not a typical superhero movie. It does not have any superpowers coming to some guy and some supervillains trying to take over the world. It is a very realistic, grounded movie based in Mumbai, not going anywhere else. It's just a guy fighting the system and how his life changes, what are his feelings at the starting of this movie, how they change, and how he sort of becomes this superhero vigilante that is trying to take down the system, the corrupt administration, and the corrupt politicians and the businessmen that are ruining his city, the city that he loves, the city that he has grown up in. Now let's talk about the acting. Harshvardhan Kapoor, in my opinion, has done a brilliant job. For the most part, there are some hits and misses, but he has done a good job for the most part. All the supporting actors in this movie have done their part brilliantly. I even like the main two friends of the lead, which do their job pretty well and very important to the story, very important to the hero's journey. I would say the villain has acted well, but his character is not up to the mark. It's not a great villain, but still the actors who play those parts have done their job decently enough. Now, two things I really like in this movie are the action sequences as well as the cinematography. The cinematography is really good, but yes, there are flaws in this movie. I'll talk about the flaws in the later part of this video. Now, coming back to the cinematography, some of the scenes are really beautiful and they complement the action that is going on. They are not quick cut action sequences. They are not a lot of shaky cam that is going on. The frame has been set far off so you can look at the beautiful action sequences that are going on in this movie. The action is another brilliant thing in this movie. The action is really grounded and very realistic. As this is a story about a normal human being, normal guy, everyday guy going against these goons. So naturally, he's not gifted in martial arts. Yes, he does learn some stuff, but he's not a gifted martial artist or some stuntman. So his action is really grounded and gritty and very realistic. People are not flying off by a single punch, I might add. It's very realistic. The action and the reaction of the stunt people that are working in these action sequences is very realistic and grounded. Next, coming to the direction, I think it has been directed very well for the most part. Yes, there are some sequences, some things that I don't like about this movie. There are some shots which I think could have been done better. But for the most part, the direction is very good. And the story that the director is trying to tell really comes through in this movie, which is nearly 3 hours long. That is one of the positives as well as negatives of this movie. It's a really long movie. Sometimes it does seems to drag on, but I think the length was necessary for the movie because the character arc that the hero takes does really require some character development, and that character development requires some time to be invested in it. So I think the length of this movie is a positive as well as a negative for this movie. Now, staying on point with the negatives, there are some story points that I did not like about this movie, how things went on. Some things I really don't like. Sometimes there are sequences shot in this movie that the movie could have done without, and that would have even helped with the shortening of this movie and made it a quicker pace movie. Things could have been accomplished without those sequences being in them at all, and I think that would have been an even better movie. But all in all, I would say this is a really good movie. It's a film, it's a superhero origin story. It's not a typical superhero movie, it's just a superhero origin story, kind of like Batman Begins, but not on that scale. It is a really low budget sort of movie. How a normal guy tries to take on the system, turns into a vigilante, and eventually goes on to become a superhero. That's what this movie is about. I think this is a brilliant watch and must see for all the superhero fans. I know it's not something like the Marvel universe where there's joke every 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. But yes, this is a hyper realistic superhero origin story. If you are in those sort of movies, I think you'll really enjoy this movie, and you'll enjoy the grittiness of this movie, the hyper realistic stuff that is going on, how things work in Indian systems, and why sometimes we just feel that we need to get out, wear a mask and punch some guys to get things done correctly. So I will give a 2 thumbs up recommendation for this movie. Please go out and watch this. I know this is a sort of movie that not many people will watch. That in turn will make the producers think that these sort of movies do not work, nobody likes them. But yes, if you go out to watch such movies, you will get good movies. If you go out to watch some shitty movies, you will get shitty movies, because that's how the business works. They are not here to make art. Movies is a predominantly money-minded business. It's a straightforward business. If you support such movies, you will get to see more of such movies. If you do want to see good movies, go out and watch this movie, I will say. What are your reactions on the trailers of this movie? Have you seen the trailers? Have you seen the movie? Write it down in the comment section below and let me know. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you hated it for some reason, give it a thumbs down. If you want to see more content from Afterthoughts, please hit the subscribe button as well as the bell icon so that you'll be notified whenever a new video drops. Till the next one drops, my name is Puneet and you're watching the Afterthoughts Network. Bye bye.